peace that surpasses all understanding. A Noodle, a Ramble, probably not a vent. Actually feeling pretty good. Interesting situation where not too long ago, probably 2 months ago, 3 months ago, I was awake, but I had this image. It was two circles, basically, almost in the infinity symbol, and after I had described it to a friend in fair amount of detail, I don't know, within a day, maybe the following day, she got back to me and she had sent me an image of, not atoms, oh my goodness, zygotes, and cells forming, and the image, was virtually identical to cellular formation. And basically what it was, the image that I kept seeing, was the splitting of an atom, or a splitting of a cell, primarily a reproductive cell, as like twins. So pretty cool. And that was definitely, like, when she sent me the image, I was like, holy crap, that's what I was envisioning, And yes, I took biology and A&P, anatomy and physiology, and never did microbiology or anything like that. So for these images to, like, just kind of come in is really interesting. But more recent, when did that happen? This would have been within the past week, and maybe a full week ago. And I've been kind of like, what is that? What is that? What is that? And the image that I saw this time was and now, from my perception, this was a dream. I was asleep, but very close to waking up. It was, they always say that the dreams occur right before you're going to wake up, typically. But the image that I saw in this dream, now, from my perspective, what it appeared to be was outer space, the vastness of outer space, very dark, starless, no stars. And but that was my perception of the dream, that I was viewing something in space, and there was a larger circle that was illuminated. It was the center of the circle was dark and black and void of any light, but the circumference of the circle was beaming off light, and inside that circle was a smaller little circle doing the same exact thing, void of, it was black in the center with light shining around it. And very interesting. But again, like my process or my thought pattern was that it was like some sort of a sci-fi outer space kind of, that was the vision that I was, that was the feel to it. And that was the feel to it. And sure enough, man, I didn't require help this time because I had some idea. And I started going, I Googled it. I went on the internet and circle in a circle. This, that, and the other thing. Glowing circle. Black circle with glowing, and I just, went a little nuts trying to, sure as shit, where did it bring me? right back to these images of cellular reproduction. This particular image, the one that I found, it was almost spot on, man. I'm telling you, almost spot on. Was a female egg being like, shall we say, the moment of conception, and the egg was being fertilized by a sperm, and this circle inside the circle was, the fertilization point of a birthing, Very interesting, very interesting. I don't know what it means yet. I don't know what it means yet. But it's just amazing stuff that the clarity of my dreams in this process, the clarity of visions that I have when I'm conscious. Wild, man. Wild. And I had spoken to this one, speaking of visions or feelings, or there was, and I can't remember exactly how long ago this was, but there was three of us, myself and two other fellow YouTubers, who had a simultaneous vision of a kind of like something to do with the Earth, the globe, the Earth, a hollow Earth. Mine was more of like what you would imagine a globe, having a vision of kind of a globe with the latitude and longitude lines on it, and within or closely related to that globe, hollow Earth shape, we all had this vision of an Indian or an Indian chief wearing a headdress. There are no coincidences. And more recently, so that was, several months ago, and more recently, probably within the past 2 weeks, that image has been resurfacing for me. And not only that image, but my grandmother and my mother moved to the East Coast, Massachusetts, from Dunseith, North Dakota. Dunseith, Bismarck, basically kind of like in the lower right corner of North Dakota ish. And both my grandmother and my mother were they have passed, they've moved on, were Native American. And there's a whole story behind that. It's my great-grandfather owned the general store on the Indian reservation, and he would, it was illegal for, at that time, to sell the Indians booze. But my grandfather was a bit of a, what we would now call a player, and he would barter whiskey with the Native American women for sexual favors. Way to go, Gramps. That's sarcasm. And that's where my mother and my grandmother were produced. So, anyway, moving on. these visions, these dreams, and I'm going to call them visions because I wasn't sleeping. But there was so I had a lot of experience with my grandmother growing up, and while she was devoutly Catholic, she still hung on to a lot of the tradition and some of the heritage, and the thing that's been like really just like pounding through was when I was a kid. I remember being out we were always out in the yard, my grandmother and I, and she was teaching me about trees and teaching me about the ground and gardening and feeling, not just not just planting some shit, getting your hands into the earth, getting your feet into the earth, and music and dancing. And I remember being in the yard with her and her kind of doing a native, like we might skip through the yard, dart around the yard, having a grand old time on a warm sunny day, and you might just break out and dance, and she would do that, and she would do what, in American dance, and I remember trying to kind of do my thing and keep up with her, and she'd hold my hands and show me how to move, and it's interesting. But I've been having that same, the memory of it came up, but the way that it came up was through this vision of, here we go, man. That coincidence, that there are no coincidences, and this I guess telepathy, this one-mindedness, this oneness with other people, having this strong urgency for play and dance and celebration. And I can tell you from my own experience after this past year, man, I need to play, man, because it's been tense, it's been intense. A lot of great stuff, but roller coaster ride, holy hell, let's go play. And I've found myself, kind of like just breaking out, spontaneously in a dance move, and a lot of it is like what my grandmother taught me, more of kind of, shall we say, Native American moves. And it fascinated me because it was like, oh man, euphoric recall of those experiences that I had with her. And a lovely woman, boy. Side note, she had dark skin. There was a lot of prejudice and bigotry, and more so, well, equally, because she was she came from an interracial relationship. My grandfather was white as a sheet from Canada, a French guy, and her mother was Native American, and anyway, she still, so they weren't welcome. So there was some, it's a derogatory term, but half-breed were not welcome. They were shunned by the Catholic community, and they were shunned by their own tribe. And when she came out to the East Coast, Massachusetts, I recall her using straight bleach on her face and her arms, like any of the body parts that were exposed, using straight bleach to try to dye her skin to bring her skin tone down lighter. And it's unfortunate, because we live in an age now where it's a lot more accepted and permissive, and the diversity and Yeah, she was a beautiful woman. So where is this leading? Who the hell knows? I don't know. That's why they call it a ramble. Next topic. Time to play. Time to play. And I'm going to investigate more with I've been investigating more with Native American music, like original stuff, not what I would call modern, but there are some really interesting videos. I remember seeing there was one of the oldest known motion picture, and I believe it was from 1897, and there was sound accompanying it, and it was like authentic, and I was very impressed by that, and I kept researching through that link. Where yeah, it's very cool stuff. But gonna keep working on that one. Gonna keep looking into that and have fun with it. Enjoy myself. But this last week, I was married and divorced. I was divorced, and we were divorced in 2013. But in that relationship, I had 4 stepchildren. I still have contact with 3 of them, and one of them moved back to the East Coast. I'm in Maine. He moved back to Maine from Los Angeles. He was pursuing, among other things, a modeling career, and frankly, he didn't like the energy out there, and that was primarily the reason that he came back. I even would say, I believe the word he used was Los Angeles is soulless. His words. But he moved in last week. He's been here a week and a couple of days. And I've been living here alone since 2013, 2014-ish. So it's just really interesting to get back into a routine of no other way to put it, having a roommate, interesting experience, and how the dynamic, and I'm really leaning into this because it feels good, it feels right, we're still relearning each other a bit, but leaning into it from a different set of eyes, I'm just a guy, he's just a guy. I'm not his stepfather anymore. We're just, we're friends, I guess, and that's kind of nice, and navigating, it's very interesting when there is definitely there is a freedom that I feel. He's not quite there yet. He's always apologizing for things, and it's like, dude, let your shoulders drop, You're welcome here. This is your space too, Relax, enjoy. You break something, you break something. Shit happens, whatever. But, and so it's just kind of nice. It really is. It's just kind of nice to have the different perspective of where I am no longer, shall we say, an authority figure. I'm not his stepfather anymore. We're just roommates, And it's interesting. It's nice having the energy in the house. And along with his energy, he has friends and his sisters. His sisters, my former stepdaughters, have been over virtually every day, and to bring all that energy into the house, it's a little overwhelming at times, but beautiful, like, oh, I remember this, I remember what it was like when we were all living in the same house, and, holy hell, but it's awesome to have that relationship with all of them. But it's really awesome to have, shall we say, some life back in the house, other than plants and a dog. It's kind of nice. And to be able to enjoy it and experience it from a place of equality rather than parent and child. I would liken it to the energy of a grandparent, where a grandparent, it's like, I've heard a lot of people, being, having a child, having a baby, having that wonderful experience, that just incredible. But then I've also heard a greater number of grandparents say, if I knew then what I know now, I would have just been a grandparent because there's a freedom associated with that, time and maturity and learning how to love unconditionally, and being able to load the kids up on chocolate and candy and sugar and send them home with a drum to mom and dad, just there's a different kind of energy about it that I'm enjoying, a few years later, and they're all grown up now, and it's been a privilege, it's been an honor, it's been a true, ups and downs with it, like just with anything, but it has definitely been, you're looking at a guy who had a vasectomy when he was 35 because he was absolutely concerned, absolutely convinced that I never wanted to have children, and or to have that kind of experience, and it's incredible to me to come to a place where to have those experiences and to how is it put to me? To realize and experience the things I never knew I wanted, and coming to this day where things have just kind of come full circle, and I get to kind of sit back and enjoy the experience as opposed to trying to teach or lead. I can just be, and so can they, without judgment, I smoke cigarettes and drink coffee, and they party a bit and smoke some weed, and there's no judgment, there's none. And that's a nice place to be when you can witness and observe people learning and growing, experiencing successes and experiencing abysmal failures, and just to be there for one another, not to fix or correct anything for them, just to stand by their side and, yeah, I'm here, we'll this is it's pretty awesome. It's pretty awesome. And along with my stepson moving in, he brought his dog, and his girlfriend has a cat, and the cat's been here too. So it's been a full house, but it's It gives you a different perspective on what is important, what isn't important. A dog pees on the carpet, you know, don't cry over spilled milk, you know. It's been fun. It's been fun, and as time goes on, I'm confident that this is, at least for the time being, this is definitely where he belongs, you know. And I'm glad he's here, you know. And it's wonderful to see my former stepdaughters so often, and they bring their friends over, and there's a lot of really awesome energy, you know, flowing through the house. Once you get through all the smoke from the bong hits they're doing, it's damn, you know. Anyway, wishing you all a peace that surpasses all understanding. And a little awkward in the share. I felt myself kind of stuttering a couple of times, but I don't know. Anyway, peace that surpasses all understanding. Hope you guys are doing great, and by all means, if you feel like commenting or sharing, please feel free. And I'm always interested in hearing other people's ideas and experiences and perspectives. If there's something you want to talk about that you don't feel comfortable posting, my email is scottzatella1966@gmail.com. I'll put it in the notes. Have a wonderful evening. I'm out of here. Take care, you guys.